Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony, and AMD has had their 2020 CES announcement and my thoughts on AMD's 2020 outlook. Starting out with AMD's CES announcement, they had come out of the gate swinging with their Ryzen mobile parts. So these are going to be the Ryzen 4000 parts for the mobile sector based upon the Zen 2 CPU cores, and then also still Vega graphics side as well. So I'm actually pretty impressed with these of what they're being able to release, and I think they did a much better job naming than they did their desktop models, but that's neither here nor there because the desktop models are already out. So we have the new Ryzen 7 4800 all the way down to the Ryzen 4800H and the Ryzen 5 4600H, and these are both a 45 watt part that clock up to 4.2 gigahertz for the Ryzen 7 port, and they're 8 cores and 16 threads, and this is pretty big that now they're able to meet what Intel has in that 45 watt part, which is Intel already has their i9 out with that. And I really like what AMD did here, and they put this against the i9, I believe, more or less, and they kept it with the Ryzen 7, so leaving space to go up above if they want to bring something else down into that market. And I really like that because then they can put maybe a 12 core into that market too at some time down the future, with maybe a Ryzen 9 in there. So AMD kind of left some room to work, and I think this is a really good idea for them, and I think it's a way that they can start going after the mobile market a little bit with these eight CPU cores and 16 threads. The Ryzen 5 is 6 cores and 12 threads, really enabling this a lot for, maybe getting a gaming laptop and stuff. It's and having these in it. At CES, they put in, and they had ROG have a laptop out with it, and that looked pretty cool. They had a NVIDIA, 2060 in there, so there's potential there to really have some gaming side stuff as well, and creating a gaming laptop. It seems like AMD is going to have a little bit more momentum. They said they're going to have 100 design wins in laptops to get back in the laptop market, something that Intel has a real stranglehold on and doesn't really want AMD in there. Now, if you go into the U size, which is more thin and light, 15 watts, really kind of sleek designs, whereas the 45 watts, you want something a little bit thicker to cool it. And with the 45 watts, they were trying to bring desktop capable performance into a laptop. Will it match desktop? Especially not with AMD's new 16 core 32 thread mainstream desktop part. But it's something in there that they're starting to bring some of that, maybe the 8 cores, 6 cores down into there, that then people can actually get work done. And then if we hop over to that 15 watt part, that's going to be something more portable, more. I use a lot. I kind of see that as that's kind of where I want to be, because I have a desktop here at home, and I want that thin, light, and portable device that I can move all over the place. So they have the Ryzen 7 4800U, the Ryzen 7 4700U, Ryzen 5 4600U, and the Ryzen 5 4500U. So going through that, on the top of the line, we have an Ace-core 16-thread all the way down to a 6-core 6-thread. And I believe that there's, I'm looking here, whoops, I actually missed it, but they also have the Ryzen 3 series as well, which is, all the way down to a 4-core 4-thread. So really all the way down, all the way up the stack, they got some really interesting products, from the 2 Ryzen 7s of an 8-core and a 16-thread to an 8-core 8-thread part. But this is really going to enable some unique devices. If the battery life is there, because you can get up to a boost on their high-end part to 4.2 gigahertz, and it goes down from there throughout the product stack, they're going to have an ability to really kind of shine and show off these processors. And the Vega graphics on here kind of differ a little bit. What they have, if they have like 7 or 8 cores all the way down to, I believe, 3 on them for the low-end Ryzen 9 or Ryzen 3s. But those graphics are not going to be your powerful something that you're going to go game on and want the AAA graphics at high settings. No, they're going to be something that can get as passable, and you're going to get through maybe a gaming session here and there until you get back home to something that you can really game on. Hopefully we can start seeing some Thunderbolt accessories on these, or implementations on these laptops as well, or maybe it's going to be wait till USB 4 comes out. But what you really would like to see is some of the thin and lights to be able to hook up that external GPU for those people that want to have the thin and light be their main gaming display, and then when they get home they plug it in and they have the big GPU that can handle all that gaming. And I like the 15 watt parts because they are going to really go after a sector for Intel that Intel kind of has not had this high core count in the low power envelope. And this is going to hopefully spur Intel to try to, they want that stranglehold. They didn't want to give up mobile, and that's where it's going to kind of leverage from there. So on this whole mobile sector, this is one area where I thought AMD may struggle a little bit this year, but with a little, like 100 design wins already, and we are going to really kind of see those come to fruition throughout the year. Maybe this Ryzen 4000 series for mobile is really going to start things going in their direction a little bit, to be able to equal out that competition that Intel's had in the stranglehold in the laptop market. And I like this, and I really like what AMD did here to kind of release that and get that out in front of it as well, because there's really not much else, in the market for many years in the past. We've just had Intel, and now with AMD kind of getting in there, we're going to be able to see what AMD is able to accomplish and how these really stack up. And I know we're going to try to actually compare products, but it's really hard to compare apples to apples with laptop products, especially if you don't get the same design or whatever else, because same laptop model, because they can do different designings and different optimizations between each, even between different models, just because the difference in AMD, Intel, different design teams. It's an all-in-one product, so you have different cooling, whereas in desktop we can put it on a bench station and really get some of the similar testing capabilities. So time will tell to see where this goes, but I really like what AMD did here overall. They also came out, they didn't really announce too much, but they also came out today and they have some lower end, 2 CPU cores, 4 threads, 2 threads for AMD Athlon Golds for little like mobile devices. I think this is a good way to kind of still just stay in that mobile market. One thing I want to touch on before I get into the graphics is the desktop stuff. And AMD came out swinging with a 3990 Threadripper. This is going to be a $3,990 product. 64 cores, 128 threads, really opening it up for creators. And I'm talking anything from video side stuff to even, people that do a lot of heavy lifting with code, scientific stuff, everything else. There's really going to be an optimization here. Now, software's going to have to, keep evolving and catch up to it, but I like to see where hardware's going rather than software just meet up and wait for hardware. Let's get the hardware out there. As a software developer myself, I know I can push even more areas, and let's see where we can go with it. So I really like what this is. It's quad channel, ton of cash on this thing. It's available February 7th, and so if you got about $4,000 that you want to slap down on a processor, a Threadripper, definitely go look at what they're capable of. Hopefully we're going to see some results. I'd love to be able to test one because 128 threads, 64 cores, you can't really say no to that if you have the opportunity to use it just to see what it can do. So there's AMD has taken HEDT. I do not see Intel coming back here this year. I think Intel's going to have to kind of adjust some pricing, and I think later, in 2021, that's when I think Intel may start taking a look at what they can do as well. So really great job here, AMD, at getting that out. But let's go and talk a little bit about graphics. And this is where I wish AMD was doing a little bit more of. They're kind of starting to hit on all cylinders with the desktop processors. Now they're getting into mobile. They're hitting on all cylinders, I think, with Epic 2, the server platform, and I'll touch about that. I think AMD is going to do a great job in there as well. So mobile was one of my biggest concerns for my outlook for this year, and I think they're going to continue to progress, especially with the Zen 3 architecture coming out later this year for their desktop and their server-side products. If Zen is in both of those, I think that they're going to continue to add on to that. If depending on what AMD wants to do, I think they're going to have some muscle to keep pushing forward in those two markets where they've already built off of. I don't see Intel really going after them, but I see Intel really trying to have a stranglehold on that mobile market. I think Intel wants to have a stranglehold on the server market, but I think Intel is really, it's going to be 2021 before Intel can really get back into that market for them. But in the graphics side, I think that's a wide open battle. I think that's an NVIDIA stranglehold right now that AMD is really trying to break into. They had the 5700 XT. Now they had the 5500 5500 XT and the 5500 for OEMs, and they're doing something kind of same here, where they have the 5600 XT for consumers, 5600 for OEMs as well. But they're saying this is the ultimate 1080p gaming card, and it's going to be about $280, which I think is a little high. I would like to see that come in a little bit lower, just to kind of stir things up a little bit more. But I think where they even have this, I don't think it's an outrageous price. I'll see where benchmarks come in to really make a final decision on it. But they still don't have anything in the high end, and I think that's one huge missing factor for AMD to really gain mind share and really push forward. And until they get that high end gaming graphics card, it's gonna be, they'll gain market share and everything else maybe with these mid range cards, but that high end one where people are looking for one, I think. My perspective is, one thing I'm really disappointed on is the 4K graphics. I wanted to see 4K really get pushed more forward. 4K monitor. I like to see high refresh rates in 4K and everything else. And really, we've seen the 2080 Ti really kind of take that, and nothing else come out of it. There's been no competition there, so there's been really no push forward. And we got AMD here really going after that mid-range market, and they said the ultimate 1080p graphics card for this. I'm actually kind of disappointed in that. I was hoping that we were starting to see maybe we could get the 1080p as a selling point, maybe the super low-end cards, and start hitting 1440p gaming graphics card for that next step up, and then to the mid-range, kind of start driving graphics forward more progressively. I haven't seen as much as I would like. However, in saying that, this is still another gaming graphics card out from AMD, something that we haven't seen on their new RDNA 2. It is a 6 gig graphics card with, I believe it's like 36 compute units on it. So you're going to have a great experience overall on it. Yeah, 6 gigs of RAM, 36 compute units on the 5600 XT. For about, I believe it's $279 around there, and then the AMD RX 5600 is $32. So basically, a cut down version for those that, especially I believe it's for OEM, so the effective units can just go there. So this is a good card. Hopefully, if you have money spent and that comes out to be there, they want to go after the 1660 Ti from NVIDIA, and this may be a sweet spot. The 1660 Ti is more expensive, if I remember the prices right. I believe it's about $300. A little bit more than that. I could be wrong. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here, but maybe this will then now start driving down prices, because you got full product stacked all the way through, and as things sell, there may be some more incentives. Maybe that 5700 may drop a little bit more, or these may drop overall to start driving down prices as they sell, and as cards go through the supply chain, to kind of make it a little bit more competitive. Oh yeah, I want to get this card or this card based upon incentives that they have. Time will tell to see where there's at. I think there's always been a pressure to really drive down prices. I would like to see NVIDIA and AMD drive down price. I'm really don't care in either one, but my whole thing is that these are in a market right now where they're just trying to compete and get back in that competition with them. NVIDIA, and you look at the market share there need to be something. AMD needs to fill in where they're at. Once I think AMD gets a full product stack, they're going to a little bit able to go after pricing a little bit more aggressively. Overall, maybe not cut prices, but what I mean by go more aggressively is have performance per price be a little bit more aggressive, depending upon how NVIDIA reacts and Intel. But not having that full product stack really I see it as hinders them, because they can't really go after anything knowing that they can't reach the full extent that NVIDIA has, which really limits them on what they're able to do. So that's a little bit my perspective on it, but the 5600 XT is now slotted in there for if you want that, as they say, 1080p gaming graphics, something that competes with the 1660 Ti area from what their numbers are. We'll see what actual numbers are out. I think this is a good move by AMD to get in there and start completely filling out their stack. Hopefully in the next couple releases, when they get everything ironed out on the graphics side, who knows how long that will take. I think it's going to be finally at the end of this year, and he's going to have the graphics stuff kind of going in the right direction and tiered off, especially with consoles coming, and they're going to be in the direction that they need to go going forward. And these next releases, we should see better releases from them and stacks, and basically a graphic stack that's completed much faster than it is currently. So that's a little bit my viewpoint on these 5600. If you're looking for that card 1080p, definitely go and look at it. So then they came out with their M cards, so they're mobile cards. The 5500M, 5600M, or I think the 5500M was already announced, but the 5600M and the 5700M, just getting back in the gaming thing in laptops. I think this is another good move. They got 7 nanometer going through. NVIDIA has a stranglehold on it. The mobile side, I'm actually more impressed with. I think their outlook for this year is just getting back in there. They're getting their feet wet again. There's nothing else that they can really do with it. NVIDIA has a stranglehold, Intel has a stranglehold. They're getting their feet wet, trying to get back in there and show what things are capable of with the processors and the graphics side. So this is a good move from AMD. Time will tell to see where the numbers sit between what NVIDIA has out there as well. So I'm excited to see that and go through. I was looking here, you got the 5500M at 22 compute units or 4 gigs RAM. 56 is at 36 compute units and 6 gigs RAM. The 5700M is at 36 units and compute units and 8 gigs of RAM. So a little bit the same compute units according to the AMD's website, but different memory buses. So you got a little bit more memory there. And AMD also talked about a little bit about I think it's like a power shift thing. They go back and forth, and this could be a really good option for them. I'm a little bit hesitant because I know how much Intel's been spending on mobile stuff, and they really have a stranglehold with it. So and especially NVIDIA too, we saw GPP, right? Stuff in the past where NVIDIA likes to have that stranglehold as well. If AMD can get in there and show that these products are good and that they're good for gaming, this may be an option where we may actually see them gain momentum, and we may, as consumers, have more choices. I think that's key, is that we need to have more choices in the marketplace, so we have two to actually look at and say, okay, well, what's the difference in frame rate here? What's this? We have options rather than saying, yeah, this is the only option you really got. This is what you got to take. So that's kind of my thoughts on the whole mobile side. But really what I like to see here and more of it is FreeSync. This whole gaming stuff, right? NVIDIA at CES announced a 360 refresh rate monitor, right? Hertz. Awesome. I'm really excited about that. Let's keep pushing gaming forward. Let's keep pushing stuff. So AMD has refined the FreeSync stuff. We'll see if AMD can push enough to get this FreeSync naming back where G-Sync was taking it away. Adore TV did a video on that a little while ago. To go check out his video. He does great analysis. I love it. I love it how well he does and basically walks everything through. But AMD FreeSync really needs to push this a little bit more. Get their stuff out on each product. AMD FreeSync, that's just basically tear-free, low latency. Their basic one that, yes, this is certified or this is a FreeSync monitor. Then they have FreeSync Premium, which is at least 120 hertz refresh rate and minimum of a FHD, so full HD at 1080p in there, and it has to support low frame rate compensation, LFC. So, and low latency. So this is the next step up. And what I really want to see is, and that should be labeled now on the monitor, and you should be able to see that as well. But FreeSync Premium Pro, I want to see more of these. I want to see AMD push this a lot more. And this is going to be 120, at least 120 hertz refresh rate, support for low frame rate compensation, and low latency, and SDR and HDR. So now we get support for HDR and that certification of the brightness and the colors as well. So AMD, really get this out there, really push it hard, and get monitor manufacturers to put it out there on the forefront. I even want to see TVs being pushed with this as well, because I think it's going to be important going forward for that as well. So we'll see all the display partners and everything else. But overall, I think that this is going to be a really good year for AMD. I think, they got everything from consoles coming out, who knows where the chips are going to be in it. Maybe I'll focus another video on their chips and everything else. But they got server that's going well, gaming consoles are going well, mobile that they're trying to get into and get their graphics and their CPU side going. HEDT is all tied up to AMD right now. Intel needs to come out with something or lower their prices to kind of make it, interesting, I think, even more. Desktop right now, holy moly, what is going on, Intel? We'll see probably 10th generation, but I don't think it's going to be 10 nanometers, so we'll see where that's going. And AMD, what's interesting now with RDNA and the graphics side is really interesting. Let's see where RDNA 2 goes, and if that's coming out this year, especially with a high-end graphics card, I think AMD can make headway in the GPU side and in the mobile side. But remember, those are strangleholds by NVIDIA in the graphics card and NVIDIA and Intel in the mobile side. So once they can start chipping away at that and really get people to see that, yeah, we're in here and we're here to stay, it's going to be good to see a little bit more competition that can go out and buy a product and not just have one choice. So with that, let me know what your thoughts are on all this. I know this is a little bit longer video and trying to get through everything overall, but I really want to know what you guys are thinking about the outlook for AMD and how'd you like their CES announcement and how'd it go overall. So with that, I do want to say you probably saw a little bit different stuff here. My parents dropped down my Macintosh Classic and my Macintosh SE that I've had for a while. Somebody's going to throw them out, and I said no. So I know one works fully. I think the other one needs a little bit of work on it, reinstall the OS, but I got original disc someplace else. I hope I have them at my parents' house, so that'll probably come down at some point. But so I rearranged a little bit around here. Let me know what your thoughts are on that as well. And until next time, I want to say God bless and thank you guys for helping support this channel as well, especially going through everything. Daughter's still going through a little bit of stuff, but at least she's home, so hopefully here we'll get through everything and she'll be good to go. But until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.